The mysterious killing of a prominent law professor,
murdered execution style,
shot and killed inside his home.
Even by Florida standards, the shooting of law professor Dan Markel is a shocker, a brazen assassination that has residents of his prosperous Tallahassee neighborhood quaking in their tasseled loafers.
It's absolutely not the kind of neighborhood where you would ever see something like this happening at 11 a.m. on a Friday morning.
The scene on Trescott Drive, grisly. Markel shot twice in the head, breathing but barely alive.
So far, there are no good leads. He was shot in this quiet Benton Hills neighborhood.
It would seem like this broad daylight shooting, and whoever had done it was gone.
Markel is rushed to a local hospital. The cops soon locate ex-wife Wendi Adelson, who is still living in Tallahassee. They take her into this interview room where they tell her what happened.
There was a shooting at your ex-husband's home. Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
What happened?
Well,
As the initial shock subsides, her thoughts turn to their children.
Which really scares me because it means there's someone out there that's willing to do this to him, and I'm scared for the kids.
Maybe she should be scared for herself. Cops take a hard look at her as a possible suspect. She is the ex-wife, after all. Snapping a photo, swabbing her hands for evidence of gunshot residue.
can I have your phone now?
Taking her cell phone, turning her minivan inside out.
My ex-husband caused me a lot of grief. I would never do something like this.
I know. And it's
So
going
I
to...
understand why I would
Okay.
be the person you would think would do something, but
Well, we have to work just as hard to eliminate
it's
people.
fine. I want to figure out...
Adelson tells police she was at home in the morning waiting for a TV repairman, then went out to buy a bottle of booze for a party. After that, she met some friends for lunch. Police, meanwhile, find no evidence of a break-in at the Markel home. Somebody, for some reason, wanted Dan Markel dead, but who? Right after the shooting, police didn't have much to go on, but they did get one lead. The neighbor who called 911 from that house told them that he saw a light-colored car that looked like a Prius back out of the driveway and head down the road.
You said there was another vehicle that you saw driving away?
Yes, and it left the scene rapidly. It looked sort of like a Prius.
Tallahassee police quickly begin a door-to-door search for any sign of the car on security cameras. 5 days later, they get a hit, releasing this grainy photo of a Prius.
Now in Tallahassee, you know, a Prius and Subarus are a dime a dozen. So, I mean, there are an awful lot of Priuses around here.
While investigators hunt for that eco-friendly vehicle of interest, they are also digging into every aspect of Markel's life.
We thought maybe it could have been a disgruntled former student. It could have been someone who disagreed with his ideas.
Nervous faculty at FSU wonder, could his death be tied to the campus?
They just thought, my God, this happened to one of us, and another one of us might be next. I walked out of my office one Sunday, but next to me was a metallic green Toyota Prius, and I confess that sent a shiver up my spine.
About 15 hours after he is shot, Dan Markel is pronounced dead. The devastating news spreads quickly.
I shot up from bed. I was shocked, devastated.
I literally could not comprehend that that had happened to him.
His many friends and family gather to grieve the loss of this young father and brilliant legal scholar.
Because Dan directly touched so many people, it was extremely painful.
Okay. Do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
Back at police headquarters on the day of the shooting, it seemed Wendi Adelson was off the hook, and she and the investigator engaged in talk of whodunit.
Who would do this?
I don't know. That's why you're here, and that's why we're talking.
She proceeded to tell police about that FSU professor, Jeffrey Lacasse, the other man in her life who she lately had had a falling out with.
He didn't like Danny because Danny hurt me.
She said Lacasse, who you might have noticed bears a striking likeness to Markel, was no fan of her ex.
I see why he's a good suspect. It's like, what if it's Jeff? Like, then I did this by asking for some time away from him. I made him crazy.
2 nights later, police asked Lacasse to come down to the station.
Your name did come up because you were associated at some point with Wendi. Of course.
Without hesitation, the professor professes his affection for his former flame.
I was in love with this girl, man, so it was hard. And she really has this charisma and this sexuality, and so, you know, you throw yourself in front of a bus for this girl.
And you've never had any kind of physical contact with Danny?
No. I'm surprised you guys didn't call me earlier, though, because I probably said 100 times in public that I like to kick his ass, because he kept, like, really making Wendi suffer and things like that.
Right.
But no, I would never. I'm a professor, and I'm not going to do anything like that. No.
He tells cops he was hundreds of miles away at the time of the murder.
I stayed at a really crappy Days Inn, maybe 20 miles south of Atlanta.
Lacasse's story checks out, but he's not done talking. In fact, far from it.
I have something I want to tell you, but I want it off there. I'm more concerned about my safety with what I'm going to tell you. Danny Markel just got killed, and I don't want to be next. I'm sorry if that sounds paranoid, but I do have some ideas.
Over the course of 3 lengthy interviews, he paints a portrait of profound Adelson family dysfunction.
The whole family's real weird. Something's up with this family.
He tells police they should focus not on Wendi, but on her parents and her brother Charlie, who run the family dentistry business in South Florida, and had come to think of Dan Markel as a stubborn obstacle to Wendi's happiness.
The family desperately wants her back in South Florida. Mother, father, and she has a brother. They hate Danny in a way I've never seen. This kind of obsession. Like their hobby is hating Danny. But I could just say, I would be investigating Charlie Adelson. No, I don't know if he did this. If you're looking at somebody, don't miss him.
Soon, police discover Lacasse isn't the only one raising concerns about Wendi's family.
They hated Danny, really.
They hate Danny.
Markel's friends, Alex and Maya Greenberg, tell police all about Dan's troubles with his in-laws.
I think they were mean. I mean, to do some of the stuff that they did during this divorce with Danny is just not reasonable.
Even Wendi Adelson herself acknowledges her parents' hatred for Markel.
My parents had more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else. He hurt their daughter. They're very angry with him. But even my family, who felt like I had been mistreated, would never do something like this. Never.
And for all the talk of Wendi's family, they were nowhere near Tallahassee on the day of Markel's murder. The cops are laser focused on tracking down that mysterious green hybrid, and for many months, the case goes cold.
All that we knew was that he had been shot in his garage, that there was a Prius-like vehicle that was seen leaving the scene, and that was it.
Coming up, something as banal as a toll transponder of all things will lead police hundreds of miles away, far from the FSU quad, to the bloody streets of gangland Miami. The hunt for the killers in 2020 returns.